Okay, let's jump right into this explainer with a scenario that is honestly a little terrifying, but completely realistic. Stop whatever you're doing for just a second and imagine this. You are 72 years old, you're comfortably retired, life's been pretty peaceful, you've been relaxing. But then, one morning, you open your banking app and boom, your balance has hit absolute zero. Every single rupee of your life savings, gone.
Seriously, what do you do in that moment? You realistically have about 13 years left to live, pushing you to age 85. Who do you turn to? Do you literally have to hold your hands out to your kids? What happens when a random medical emergency pops up? This isn't some dramatic movie scene. This is the harsh mathematical reality for people who spend their whole lives working hard, but end up saving the totally wrong percentage of their income. So today, we're going to break down the exact numbers you need to know to avoid this trap. To understand why this is happening, we have to look back. Back in 1947, the average life expectancy in India was just 32 years. 32. But today, thanks to the insane pace of medical science, things like AI diagnostics, preventative care, incredible cancer breakthroughs, a 30-year-old today is projected to live to 85, maybe even 90 by the year 2050. That means if you retire at 60, you're looking at 25 to 30 long years of your life with absolutely zero salary coming in.
And that brings us to a really critical concept called longevity risk. It sounds like academic jargon, but it's basically the terrifying financial reality of outliving your own money. It turns what should be a blessing, living a long, healthy life, into a massive economic burden. We tend to completely ignore this because, let's face it, retirement feels ages away. When you're 30, being 60 feels like a totally different lifetime, so we just brush it off. But the math never lies, and the anxiety of this risk has to be managed right now.
So how do we actually mathematically solve for this longevity risk? Well, we use the globally accepted gold standard for retirement planning, the 4% safe withdrawal rule. It's actually pretty simple. It means you withdraw just 4% of your total retirement savings pool, your corpus, in your very first year of retirement, and then you just adjust that amount for inflation every year after that. But for this math to work, your total retirement corpus absolutely must be exactly 25 times your first year's annual expenses. That's the magic baseline we use to calculate your exact required savings percentage.
Now, before we reveal the numbers, let's quickly lay out the 6 conservative, totally realistic assumptions that build this reality check. We're assuming you retire exactly at 60, there's a 6% long-term average for inflation, you get a realistic 10.5% return on your investments, and you see about a 6% annual income growth while you're working. Plus, we're using that 4% withdrawal rule, and most importantly, we are assuming you want the exact same lifestyle in retirement that you're enjoying right now.
All right, here we go. It's time to throw out that generic, vague advice you always hear about just saving 10 or 20% of your income. We are moving into the exact mathematical reality that dictates whether you're going to be financially free or completely broke. These percentages are derived directly from those calculations we just talked about, and they are tied straight to your current age.
Take a really close look at this. If you start at age 25, you need to save 26% of your income. Okay, not too bad. But watch what happens with just a tiny 5-year delay. At age 30, that required rate jumps to 35.6%. If you wait until you're 40 to get serious, you literally have to sacrifice almost half your salary, 46.7%, just to survive later. And if you wait until 50, you're looking at locking away nearly 69% of your income. It is an absolute wake-up call about the brutal penalty of procrastination.
Just think about being a 40-year-old right now. Nearly half of your hard-earned income, 46.7%, has to be locked away for your future 85-year-old self. That leaves barely 53% for your entire family to survive on today. Rent, EMIs, groceries, school fees, the whole shebang has to magically fit into that remaining half.
Let's make this super concrete with a real-world example from the analysis. Let's look at Rakesh. He's an IT worker, 30 years old, bringing home a net monthly salary of 75,000 rupees. Now, Rakesh feels pretty great because he's investing 10,000 rupees a month in an SIP. That's about 13.3% of his salary. Good job, right? Well, actually, no. Our math proves a 30-year-old needs to save 35.6%, which means he should be saving 26,700 rupees. Rakesh is sitting on a massive, hidden shortfall of almost 17,000 rupees every single month.
Okay, hold up. Take a deep breath. Because just when you thought those numbers were painful enough, here comes the financial bombshell that is going to make you rethink absolutely everything we just went over.
Those massive percentages, the 35%, the 46%, They are strictly for basic retirement survival. They do not include buying a house. They totally exclude your kids' higher education or their weddings. No foreign vacations, no emergency funds, no separate medical buffers, none of it. All of those major life milestones, they require an entirely separate budget stacked on top of this retirement savings.
Yeah.
When you actually factor in normal life goals alongside those bare minimum retirement needs, your true required savings rate goes through the roof. If you're a 30-year-old who wants to buy a home and raise a family, you are actually looking at needing to save over half of your total income, somewhere right around 50 to 55%.
And honestly, this completely shatters the illusion most people are living under. The source material highlights this fatal disconnect. The math screams that we need to save 50 to 55% for a secure life, yet the average financial savings rate in India is less than 8%. Think about that. People think they're doing okay, but they are effectively saving less than 8 rupees out of every 100 they make. It's a staggering gap.
But hey, do not panic just yet. Seriously, there are actually some very clear strategic levers you can pull right now to close this terrifying gap without totally destroying your current lifestyle. And we have to fix this now, because ignoring it means relying on someone else's charity when you're 85.
So, lever number 1. Simply adjust your timeline. It's incredibly effective. If you are 40 and you plan to retire at 60, you're stuck needing to save that brutal 46.7% of your income. But if you just push your retirement back by 5 short years to age 65, that required rate drops significantly down to 38.5%. You're basically giving yourself more wealth-building years while shrinking the number of years you have to survive entirely on savings.
Lever number 2, find your hidden helpers. You probably have tools working for you right now that you aren't fully accounting for. Like, if you contribute to an employee provident fund, your EPF, that is typically 12% of your basic pay automatically tucked away. You need to calculate the future value of that EPF, your PPF, any employer matches, and your ongoing SIPs. When you subtract all of that from your scary total target, you're left with a much, much smaller, actually manageable monthly gap.
And then there's the third lever, which honestly is the most powerful one of all. Actively increasing your earning power. Upskill yourself. Start freelancing. Launch a side hustle on the weekends. If you can bump your income up by just 20% and you have the discipline to funnel 100% of that new money straight into your investments, you drastically boost your savings rate while keeping your day-to-day lifestyle exactly the same. It's a total game changer.
To put all this into motion, the explainer lays out a really concrete 5-step action plan you can start today. First, match your current age to that required percentage table. Second, calculate that exact percentage against your actual in-hand salary. Third, subtract your existing EPF and SIPs to find your true gap. Fourth, start a brand new SIP, something simple like a nifty 500 index fund for that exact gap amount. And fifth, just step up that contribution by 10% every single year as your salary goes up. Put this on autopilot today and let the magic of compounding do the heavy lifting for the next 30 years.
I absolutely love this quote from the analysis. Money making is talent, saving is discipline, but investing the right percentage is wisdom. Because ultimately, surviving financially isn't just about how big your paycheck is. It's about having the strict, wise discipline to know exactly what slice of that paycheck belongs to your future self and making sure that money goes to work.
So I'm going to leave you with this to think about. What is your exact mathematical target percentage? And far more importantly, what small, tangible financial action are you going to take right now, today, to ensure that living to 85 is an amazing celebration and not a crushing financial burden? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.